Welcome back to ABCGH Spoilers channel. Today we will learn about the concerning situation surrounding Sonny Corinthos and the potential dangers that lie ahead for this beloved character. As we dive into the latest developments, we'll explore how his stubbornness regarding his health might lead to catastrophic consequences, especially with enemies lurking in the shadows. The looming emergency surgery. Sonny's initial plan to have his heart procedure performed discreetly out of town may soon be rendered impossible. With mounting threats and his deteriorating condition, circumstances might force him into an emergency situation where time becomes the most precious commodity. The newly established Dr. Monica Quartermain Cardiac Center at General Hospital could become the unexpected venue for Sonny's life-saving procedure, contrary to his original intentions of maintaining privacy. The irony of Sonny's situation cannot be overlooked. A man who has survived countless dangerous encounters throughout his tumultuous life might ultimately be undone by his own reluctance to address his health concerns. This stubborn characteristic that has served him well in business and territorial disputes may prove to be his greatest vulnerability. Medical staff preparations. Behind the scenes, General Hospital's cardiac team has likely been reviewing Sonny's medical history, preparing for the possibility that he might need immediate intervention. The specialized equipment at the Quartermain Cardiac Center represents the cutting edge of medical technology, offering Sonny his best chance at survival should his condition suddenly deteriorate. The enemy's next move. With Salisky no longer in the picture, the mysterious mastermind behind the attacks will undoubtedly be seeking alternative means to eliminate Sonny. This unknown adversary has already demonstrated both patience and resources, suggesting they won't be easily deterred by the failure of their first attempt. Intelligence gathering has become a priority for Sonny's team, with Brick taking the lead on extracting information from Salisky's electronic devices. This digital investigation represents their best hope for identifying the threat before another attack materializes, though time may not be on their side. Potential suspects. The list of individuals with motivation to target Sonny is unfortunately extensive. From business rivals to family members of past victims, the possibilities span decades of Sonny's controversial activities. This wide array of potential enemies makes the threat assessment particularly challenging, as the next attack could come from virtually any direction. Jason Morgan's growing concerns. As Sonny's most trusted confidant and protector, Jason finds himself in an increasingly difficult position. His tactical expertise tells him that another attempt on Sonny's life is inevitable, while his personal connection to Sonny fills him with dread about the possible outcomes. Jason's warnings about Sonny potentially doing his enemy's work for them by postponing the surgery reflect his practical approach to threat assessment. He recognizes that Sonny's health condition represents a vulnerability that could be exploited, either directly or indirectly, by those wishing him harm. Security measures. Despite Jason's exceptional skills, even he may find himself overwhelmed by the perfect storm of circumstances brewing around Sonny. The combination of a determined enemy, Sonny's compromised health, and the unpredictable nature of cardiac emergencies creates a scenario where traditional security measures might prove insufficient. Family impact and emotional turmoil. Should Sonny's condition deteriorate rapidly, his family will face terrifying moments of uncertainty. The emotional impact would ripple through Port Charles, affecting not only his immediate family but the extended network of individuals whose lives are intertwined with his. Carly, despite their complicated history, would undoubtedly be devastated by Sonny's hospitalization. Their children would gather at his bedside, creating poignant moments that remind viewers of the human cost of Sonny's dangerous lifestyle and current health gamble. Community response. The news of Sonny's medical crisis would quickly spread throughout Port Charles, potentially creating opportunities for both allies and enemies to make strategic moves during his vulnerability. Long-standing relationships might be tested, while unexpected support could emerge from surprising sources. The inevitable chain reaction. If predictions hold true, Sonny's enemy will strike again, triggering a devastating sequence of events. The stress of another attack could prove too much for Sonny's compromised heart, leading to a medical emergency that requires immediate intervention. This chain reaction would force Sonny into the very situation he's been trying to avoid: a high-profile medical crisis at General Hospital, where privacy would be virtually impossible to maintain. The vulnerability of being hospitalized would create additional security challenges for Jason and Brick to manage. Critical moments. The most dramatic moments may come during Sonny's struggle to survive both the enemy's attack and his own health crisis simultaneously. These parallel threats represent the perfect dramatic storm, testing Sonny's legendary resilience in unprecedented ways. Sonny's survival and future implications. While Sonny will ultimately survive these ordeals, as is typical for a character of his importance, the experience will likely leave lasting impacts on both his physical condition and his approach to personal security. Recovery from cardiac surgery combined with healing from potential injuries would require a period of vulnerability that Sonny rarely allows himself. This recovery period could provide an opportunity for character development, potentially leading Sonny to reassess certain aspects of his life and business operations. The near-death experience might trigger reflections on legacy, family, and the true costs of the empire he's built. Long-term consequences. Beyond the immediate medical concerns, this crisis could reshape relationships and alliances throughout Port Charles. Loyalties might be tested, new protective measures implemented, and perhaps most significantly, Sonny might gain crucial insights into the identity of his mysterious enemy. Next, we will learn about the issues surrounding the Davis family and a potential cover-up that could shatter relationships forever. The drama unfolding in Port Charles has taken a shocking turn, with family loyalties being tested and secrets threatening to destroy the fragile peace between sisters. The potential discovery and its implications. Alexis Davis may soon find herself in an impossible situation if she discovers that her daughter Christina Davis was responsible for tampering with Rick Lansing's brakes. This revelation would place Alexis at a devastating crossroads between her two daughters. The maternal instinct to protect Christina might conflict with her obligation to be honest with Molly Lansing Davis, creating an emotional tug-of-war that could tear the Davis women apart. The already delicate relationship between Molly and Christina has weathered numerous storms over the years. From childhood rivalries to adult disagreements, their sisterly bond has been tested repeatedly. This latest incident, however, could be the final blow that irreparably damages their connection. Molly's husband Rick could have been killed due to Christina's reckless actions, and such a betrayal might be impossible for Molly to forgive. The weight of knowledge. Currently, Lucky Spencer carries the burden of this explosive secret alongside Christina. After witnessing her reaction at the crash scene, he quickly helped her fabricate an alibi about doing inventory at Charlie's pub. His involvement became even more complicated when he learned that Elizabeth Baldwin was also caught up in the accident. This personal connection has intensified Lucky's emotional investment in the situation, making his upcoming confrontation with Christina all the more significant. Lucky's history with Elizabeth adds layers of complexity to his involvement. Their shared past and lingering feelings could influence his decisions about how to handle Christina's confession. Will his loyalty to Elizabeth push him to reveal Christina's actions, or will his compassion for the troubled young woman lead him to maintain her secret a while longer? The mistaken target and investigation. What makes this situation even more tragic is that Christina never intended to harm Rick at all. Her target was actually Ava Jerome, making this a case of mistaken identity with potentially fatal consequences. This error in judgment shows Christina's impulsivity and lack of forethought, traits that have gotten her into trouble throughout her life. The police investigation into the tampered brakes will inevitably gain momentum in the coming weeks. As evidence is collected and witnesses are interviewed, the truth may emerge regardless of anyone's efforts to conceal it. Port Charles Police Department has solved more complex cases, and with physical evidence available, it's only a matter of time before they narrow down their list of suspects. The pressure of guilt. Even if Lucky maintains his silence, Christina may find the weight of her guilt unbearable. The psychological pressure of nearly killing her sister's husband could push her to confess to Alexis or even to Molly directly. Christina has always struggled with impulse control and emotional regulation, making her particularly vulnerable to cracking under pressure. The mental health implications for Christina are significant. Her history of making poor decisions under stress suggests that she might not handle this secret well. As days pass, viewers might witness her spiraling, possibly turning to unhealthy coping mechanisms that could further complicate the situation. Alexis's history of protection. Alexis has demonstrated time and again that she will go to extraordinary lengths to protect her children, particularly Christina. The incident involving John Jagger Cates serves as a powerful reminder of Alexis's willingness to cross ethical lines when her daughter's welfare is at stake. This established pattern of behavior suggests that Alexis might once again choose Christina's protection over complete honesty. The legal ramifications of Alexis's potential cover-up would be severe. As a former district attorney and practicing lawyer, Alexis understands better than most the consequences of obstructing justice. Her career, reputation, and freedom could all be jeopardized if she decides to help Christina hide her involvement in the brake tampering. The ethical dilemma. This situation presents a fascinating ethical dilemma for Alexis. As a mother, her instinct is to protect her child, but as a lawyer and moral individual, she knows that actions must have consequences. The internal conflict between these opposing values will likely provide viewers with compelling character development as Alexis navigates this treacherous moral terrain. The show's writers have created a perfect storm of conflicting loyalties that will force Alexis to prioritize one relationship over another, regardless of which path she chooses. This kind of no-win scenario creates the dramatic tension that soap opera audiences crave. The potential fallout. If Molly discovers that Christina endangered Rick's life and that Alexis concealed this information, the betrayal would cut doubly deep. Molly would feel violated not only by her sister's actions but also by her mother's complicity in hiding the truth. This dual betrayal could permanently alter the family dynamic among the Davis women. The legal consequences for Christina could include charges of attempted murder or, at minimum, criminal negligence and property damage. Her intent to harm Ava rather than Rick might provide some mitigation, but would not excuse the fundamental criminality of her actions. Prison time is a very real possibility, adding urgency to Alexis's dilemma. Rebuilding trust. Should the truth come to light, the path to reconciliation would be long and difficult. Molly's forgiveness, if it comes at all, would require significant time and perhaps professional intervention. Family therapy sessions might become a new setting for the Davis women as they attempt to rebuild their shattered relationships. The psychological impact on Molly shouldn't be underestimated. Learning that her own sister deliberately took actions that could have killed her husband would be traumatic. Molly's processing of this betrayal would likely involve stages of grief, anger, and possibly even depression before any healing could begin. The dramatic potential. This storyline offers rich dramatic possibilities for the actors involved. Nancy Lee Grahn, Alexis, excels at portraying complex moral dilemmas, while Lexi Ainsworth, Christina, and Haley Poulos, Molly, have demonstrated their ability to handle emotionally charged material. The confrontations and confessions that lie ahead will showcase their considerable talents. The question remains, will Alexis reveal Christina's actions or help cover them up? And could Molly ever find it in her heart to forgive either of them if she discovers the truth? These questions will keep viewers tuning in, eager to see how this family drama unfolds and whether the bonds of motherhood and sisterhood can withstand such a severe test. Next, we will learn about the issues surrounding Christina Corinthos Davis and her potential exit from Port Charles. The beloved character has found herself in a downward spiral that might lead to serious consequences for both the character and the actress portraying her. Kate Moncey's potential departure. Is Kate Moncey leaving the show? This question lingers in the minds of many General Hospital fans as we observe the troubling storyline unfolding for Christina Corinthos Davis. Moncey has established a pattern throughout her career of departing soap operas when her contract concludes, suggesting this current storyline might be setting the stage for her exit from Port Charles. The dramatic arc involving Christina's criminal actions could serve as the perfect narrative device to write the character out of the show. Christina's journey toward imprisonment seems increasingly likely as the storyline progresses. If she pleads guilty to the charges against her, we could witness emotional courtroom scenes culminating in her incarceration. This would provide a logical explanation for the character's absence from Port Charles while leaving the door open for a potential return with either Moncey or a recast in the role. The writers appear to be crafting a narrative that offers no redemption for Christina's actions, suggesting her time on the canvas may be drawing to a close. The severity of her crime, tampering with a vehicle's brakes that resulted in injuries, crosses a moral line that's difficult to walk back from in soap storytelling. Christina's inevitable exposure. Sooner or later, the truth about Christina's actions will come to light, with several potential paths to her exposure. The most compelling scenario involves Ava Jerome piecing together the evidence and realizing she was the intended target of the sabotage. As Ava begins to vocalize her suspicions, it could create a ripple effect throughout Port Charles. Molly Lansing Davis might emerge as a key figure in this revelation, given her intimate knowledge of Christina's intense hatred toward Ava. Despite initial skepticism from others, Molly could recognize the plausibility of Ava's theory based on her sister's recent behavior and emotional state. This family dynamic adds layers of complexity to an already tense situation. Another possibility is that Christina, overwhelmed by guilt and remorse, might confess to her crimes. The psychological burden of knowing she injured innocent people could become unbearable, leading to a dramatic confession scene that showcases Moncey's acting prowess before her potential departure. The Port Charles Police Department will inevitably determine that the brake lines were deliberately cut, initially focusing their investigation on potential enemies of Rick Lansing. This misdirection could temporarily shield Christina, but as with all secrets in Port Charles, the truth will eventually surface. The investigation unfolds. As the PCPD delves deeper into the case, they'll initially operate under the assumption that Rick Lansing was the intended target. Detectives will compile a list of potential suspects with motives to harm the attorney, creating a web of suspicion throughout Port Charles that temporarily diverts attention from Christina. Meanwhile, Ava Jerome might begin connecting dots that others miss. Her survival instincts, honed through years of navigating dangerous situations, could help her realize that she was the actual target. This revelation would naturally lead her to consider who might harbor enough resentment toward her to attempt such a drastic action. The investigation will likely feature forensic evidence from the damaged vehicle, witness statements from the accident scene, and security footage from the parking area. These elements will gradually form a picture that points toward Christina, especially once investigators learn about the parking spot confusion that led to Rick's car being targeted instead of Ava's. As pressure mounts, Christina might exhibit increasingly erratic behavior, raising suspicions among those closest to her. These subtle signs of guilt could provide additional clues for both investigators and observant Port Charles residents. Family loyalties tested. The revelation of Christina's actions will place tremendous strain on the Corinthos and Davis families. Alexis Davis and Sonny Corinthos have historically gone to great lengths to protect their daughter, often shielding her from the consequences of her actions. This situation, however, presents a moral dilemma of unprecedented magnitude. Sonny, despite his own criminal enterprises, maintains a personal code that might be challenged by Christina's reckless endangerment of innocent lives. Alexis, as an attorney, will face the professional and personal conflict of supporting her daughter while recognizing the severity of her crimes. Their reactions will provide emotionally charged scenes as they grapple with their daughter's actions. Molly Lansing Davis finds herself in a particularly difficult position, torn between loyalty to her sister and her innate sense of justice. As Rick's daughter and Elizabeth's friend, she has personal connections to the victims that complicate her response to Christina's actions. This conflict could lead to powerful confrontations between the sisters. Surprisingly, Lucky Spencer appears positioned to protect Christina, despite Elizabeth being among the injured. This unexpected alliance adds another layer of complexity to the unfolding drama and might create tension between Lucky and Elizabeth as the truth emerges. The accident's aftermath. The accident that injured Rick Lansing and Elizabeth Baldwin represents a critical turning point in Christina's storyline. What began as a misguided attempt at revenge against Ava Jerome has resulted in serious harm to innocent parties, elevating the situation from a personal vendetta to a criminal matter with significant legal implications. Elizabeth's injuries might have lasting consequences that affect her ability to work as a nurse or care for her children, adding emotional weight to Christina's actions. Similarly, Rick might face professional setbacks due to his injuries, potentially affecting his legal practice and relationship with his daughter Molly.